Students, in this video, Fundamental Unit of Life Part 2, we shall discuss on cell wall, nucleus and cytoplasm. Cell wall, they are hard outer covering of the cell present outside the cell membrane. Cell wall is composed of cellulose. Cellulose is a complex substances and provides a structural strength to plants. So this cell wall is present only in plant cell. Dear students, I want you to remember this, which means it is absent in animal cell. So why it is like in plant cell? In plant cell there is an additional covering or there is an additional rigid protection that is outside the plasma membrane. So in plant cell, outside the plasma membrane, they have one outer additional rigid covering. We called it a cell wall. So why the plants have an additional outer covering whereas animals do not have? Because we all know that plants are very delicate, plants are more flexible as compared to animals or human beings. And also plants cannot move from place to place and they cannot protect themselves. That is why they have an additional outer covering or rigid covering, and we called it as cell wall. When a living plant cell loses water through osmosis, there is shrinkage or contraction of the contents of the cell away from the cell wall. This phenomenon is known as plasmolysis. What is the role of cell wall? Cell wall, it provides shape to the walls. It provides mechanical strength to plants, protects against pathogens and mechanical injury. Growth of the cell wall determines growth of the cell. Cell wall prevents bursting of cell on endosmosis, ability to stand a lot of variation in nature. This cell wall gives strength to the plant and prevents them from bursting, and also unlike this plasma membrane, it is selectively permeable membrane, whereas in case of the cell wall is fully permeable membrane. So which means it allows everything and anything to pass through it. So this is all about cell wall. Over to the next. Nucleus, the cell brain. If you look at the cell, you will always be able to notice a structure which is somewhat spherical in shape, that is located just towards the center. Not exactly at the center, but then it is towards the center. Spherical shape, and that we called it as nucleus. Nucleus has a double layer covering called nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane has pores which allow the transfer of material from inside the nucleus to outside. Contains chromosomes which are visible as rod-shaped structures only when the cell is about to divide. Chromosomes contain information for inheritance of features from parents to the next generation in the form of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. So chromosomes are composed of DNA and protein. Functional segments of DNA are called genes. A chromosome consists of two similar threads called chromatids. Two chromatids are attached at the center by centromere. On either side of the centromere, chromatids are called arms. Chromosomes number is fixed for each species. So nucleus is present in both plants and animal cell, and nucleus is also called the control center of the cell. Why it is called control center of the cell? It is because it controls all the functions and also it controls many activities. So there are two important functions the nucleus performs. It helps in movement and reproduction. Reproduction means, from the cell theory we know that every cell arises from a pre-existing cell. That means one cell will divide two new cells, and again these two new cells will divide into four more new cells. Again it will divide and it will go on further dividing. So this is called cell division, and this nucleus helps in cell reproduction. Again, when I say movement means, this nucleus helps the substance to move from nucleus to outside of the cells, which becomes very important for the survival of the cell. And because of these two important functions, we can say that nucleus is the control center of the cell, or simply we can say that just like a brain, this nucleus is the brain of the cell. Over to the next. Organisms which lack cell membrane are called prokaryotes. Prokaryotes pro means primitive and karyote means nucleus. And organisms with cells having a nuclear membrane are called eukaryotes. So here are few differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Kindly go through the PowerPoint. Over to the next, cytoplasm. They are thick solution composed of water, salts and proteins that fills the cell. So, cytoplasm is a jelly-like semi-fluid membrane that is present everywhere inside the cell. That means if we look at an animal cell from your textbook in figure 5.5, page number 53, all the green-like color inside the cell is cytoplasm, and this cytoplasm are present everywhere in the cell. Various many cell organelles are present within the cytoplasm. That means this cytoplasm provides a platform so that the other cell organelles can stay in. Cytoplasm has two parts, cytocell and cell organelles. So cytocell is a fluid part of the cytoplasm, and cell organelles, they are structures which are specialized to perform specific cellular functions. Cell organelles may be bounded by a membrane in eukaryotic cells but lack membrane-bound organelles in prokaryotes. And the significance of membranes can be illustrated with the example of viruses. Viruses lack any membranes and hence do not show characteristics of life until they enter a living body and use its cell machinery to multiply. So viruses lack cytoplasm as well as membrane. Dear students, this is the end of this video. Thank you.